When I got here, it was a feeling of belonging somewhere. Immediately I felt it. It's that strange.
Perched on the northernmost tip of the African coast, Tangier has always looked in two directions at once. This is a gritty port city in balance, fixed between Europe and Africa, the sacred and profane.
It is a melange of every style and every sort of person here.
There's a sort of outspoken elegance. It's a kind of fashion hedonism.
It's quite strong stuff, and you either take to it or you don't.
In a place where rock stars and poets have long set out to find themselves, I'm here in search of today's creative expats, to understand the legendary, hypnotic power of this city and the influence it's had on their personal style. My first stop is a place where the past and present converge.
This is the most beautiful embroidery of Morocco.
Wow.
Perfect from both sides.
Majid is Tangier's most famous antique dealer, a passionate curator of traditional Moroccan artifacts, from rugs to kaftans and jewelry.
The dress.
He left behind his hometown of Fez nearly 40 years ago and found himself emptying ashtrays at the lavish parties of wealthy expats. He saw their fabulous collections and found an obsession.
I didn't choose Tanger, but Tanger chose me. It's given me so much beautiful things. It's smell, it's the atmosphere, it's something about it. I meet people from all over the world as a bouquet.
A friend to the many stars who call Tangier their spiritual home, Majid's favorite customer is none other than Mick Jagger.
When I was young, it was the hippie time, it was the clothes, the colors, like you're bumping to Bob Dylan, to Cat Stevens, to Rolling Stones. At that time, they're big names. But for us, it was like you and me.
What do you think Tangier gave them?
I don't know. You know, Matisse, I can understand the light. If Saint Laurent, I can understand he got influenced by the kaftan and cape, but some people, they come for dream, but there is no dream.
Tangier became a destination for dreamers and misfits after 1923, when it was recognized as an international zone. A loosely governed center for espionage, drugs, and an anything-goes attitude.
The British had the post office and the French had the roads. Basically, there were very, very few laws. And it was a fantastically clever experiment.
Photographer Tessa Codrington spent much of her life at her third-generation family home in the hills of Tangier.
I came here because I was a child and my grandfather lived here. And I did fall in love with it, but only as a child I fell in love with my grandfather's donkey, principally. It was the first thing that attracted me.
She remembers much of the excitement of a time when the promise of cosmopolitan freedom attracted the likes of writers Paul Bowles and William Burroughs, as well as fashion icon Yves Saint Laurent.
Expatriates who came here then were just coming for sex and drugs, mostly. The older ones came because it was the freedom, being able to live how you want to live and not being constrained by stupid laws back home. And now that we're all part of Morocco, it sort of goes on, really, that freedom, that sense of liberation.
Weaving through the labyrinths of the old city, I have to wonder, is the creativity that once flourished here now just nostalgia and romance? Is the vibrant life of the past still alive today? Niccolo Baldassara is a successful Italian interior designer who built his home here on a whim.
I've always been known to be quite colorful, to the extent of being nicknamed like the parrot. I adore colors, so I love to mix them. But definitely coming here has enhanced my passion for it.
How important is fashion and how you're perceived? Would you be happy just wearing jeans and a t-shirt, or does this speak to who Niccolo really is?
Listen, I have nothing against jeans and t-shirts. It's just I wouldn't feel comfortable. Moroccans have a great saying. They say that we, Westerners, have watches. They have time. It's nice to take 15 minutes to dress up.
The time here, it's like time has sort of stood still a little bit, and there's still this wonderful way of life here that, you know, quite frankly, is delicious.
Paul Bowles once said that Tangier holds added depth of reality, with its past and present existing simultaneously. Poodle is a menswear designer who seems to bring that statement to life by combining once-forgotten fabrics with modern European cuts and sensibilities.
Everything is sourced here from little shops in the Medina, so you just wander around and you find these rolls that are just collecting dust, and they're all imported from 50s, 60s, 70s to Tanger, and that's what I'm tapping into. Anything that you want to make, it's feasible. You know, you can go to a lovely leather man down the road and he can put up a sample for a belt. You can go to a shoe man and say, I've got this idea. All the possibilities are endless on a creative front. And you still have that old-fashioned elegance that's very contagious, very inspiring.
I feel comfortable in the classic, old-fashioned style. Old-fashioned, in every sort of colour as long as it's beige. That's called the Poet's Hat. It's from a very old shop in London. An old, battered planter's hat.
Jonathan Dawson is a British journalist who came here 20 years ago to write a story. But instead of passing through, he decided to stay. Now he lives here full-time with his rooster and dog and has his suits handmade by a tailor just up the street.
You didn't want to adopt some of the Moroccan prints and
No, I didn't go native in terms of getting out into Moroccan clothes, which I admire, but that don't suit me. You find a style that fits you and you stick to it.
What is it about Tanger that you think has been so attractive?
It's famous for people coming and reinventing themselves. They start out in a basement in London, end up first floor in Tanger. Then towards the end of their lives they invent titles for themselves and they get buried as HRH so-and-so.
So I can leave here Lady Leo?
Oh, easily. And it would be totally accepted here and everyone would give a lunch party for you.
I'm starting to realise that in many ways, Tanger is still a place of possibility, to live a life apart and create your own world within the existing one. Do you think there was just a more romantic period in the 60s and 70s?
No, but maybe still people find dreams now. I think so. I think still now some people live this still.
I enjoy the freedom to go out in the street and be who I am, as it were, without having to pretend to be something else.
The brilliant minds and creatives that came before cut a passage for the uprooted of today. Tanger expat style is more than a type of fabric or a colour palette. In some ways less tangible and yet entirely immersive.
I think it's the colour, the light, it just gets all your creative juices going.
It's a way of life. It's how you represent your ideal you, given the freedom from rules, responsibility, or time.
Now there'll be combat, you see.
Oh no!
This goes on all day. Stop it! Sorry about this. Come here. Oh! Look at him, going for more crumbs. Anyway, I've only got one head, but 20 hats, and that's the end of the show.
Thanks for watching Style Out There. Subscribe now for more stylish adventures.